Friendship breakups hurt worse than romantic breakups, and I don't care what anybody says. Truly, 2024, I lost so many friendships, and throughout my 20s, I've lost so many friendships, and they always hurt worse than the romantic breakups. And today we're going to get into why. So, hi, besties. Welcome back to the Single Besties Podcast. It is me, Montana Duran. We're in the kitchen today. I know, I'm sorry. We're literally in the process of packing up our whole apartment. So, we're just on the go for the next few weeks. So, friendship breakups do hit a bit harder. And the number one reason is because sometimes there's no closure. There's kind of that slow fade out, and you guys just stop talking, or someone stops inviting as much. The memes are stopped sending. Like sometimes it's a slow burn, and you're kind of left to like, what happened? You don't know. And then you do have the conversation, and then things get brought up, and it's like, well, why didn't you just talk to me about this in the beginning? And sometimes you can reconcile and sometimes you can't. And I think the ones that have no closure kind of even hurt the worst, because there's nothing worse than getting ghosted by a guy, but getting ghosted by a friend, like a friend that you've invested a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort into, that kind of hurts worse than just a ghosting from a guy that you met on an app or something. It's like we built this strong connection, we built this foundation. Like girlhood is so precious to me, and to just get ghosted by a girl sometimes hurts worse than guys. With friendships, there's also more history and less expectation of being disappointed. So when we go into romantic relationships, I think there's always the thing in the back of our head where it's either like, this is our person that we're going to spend the rest of our life with, or there's a chance this can end. But when we go into friendships with females and with even males sometimes, because I'm not the believer that males and females can't be friends. I literally have a male business partner, and we are not in love with each other that I know of. But when you walk into a friendship, especially with a female, you think there's no chance that this is going to end. We are going to be friends. You're talking about your weddings, you're talking about being bridesmaids. Like there's no chance that you think this friendship is ending. And then when it ends, it's just that gut punch, because it was like, oh, when I said best friends forever, I meant it. The third reason is because they know everything. Losing a best friend means losing someone that knows everything about you, and that is sometimes the scariest part. It's because, like, girl, you know the good, you know the bad, you know the ugly, you know the crazy me, you know you're sometimes my text between me and my best friend is like my diary. If they got leaked, like I would, no chance, please, you cannot read my text between me and my best friend. So it's like when you lose a friendship, you're also like, it's a gut punch, because you've opened up, you've expressed things to that person, and you never want it to be like used against you or to be talked about to other people. But I always try to keep my side of the street clean. Like I also know things about her. I'm not going to go tell them to other people or spread them. Like, for example, I had a friendship falling out at the end of last year that I never thought I would have a friendship falling out of. And it wasn't one of the ghosting things. Like we had a disagreement when we were hanging out, and then I tried to reconcile after the night, because and even like days and weeks after, like multiple times I was the one that was reaching out and I was getting ghosted, and I was like, okay, like I felt like that was a two-way street. We both did things. And then I found out that in those weeks of me not being like, of me being ghosted, that person went and like talked to my best friend from back home, my best friend from LA, and random strangers that knew me from high school. And I just had to like wipe my hands of it and be like, you know what? Some things aren't worth salvaging. I'm going to keep my side of the street clean, and I'm not just going to go badmouth this person to every single person I know. Clearly they're hurt, they're going through something. If they have to go and like try to tarnish my name, that's just like one example, which was crazy. It was actually a guy that did that too. Like it wasn't even a girlfriend that did that, which was just wild. So maybe guys and girls can't be friends. Maybe I just contradicted myself. But I think that's the part that sucks, is losing someone that knows everything or a lot of things about you. And just, I always like to keep my side of the street clean, but you do you, girl. I don't know your situation, but I always like to keep mine clean, because karma and God and the Holy Spirit can do a way better job at revenge than I can. The Lord always takes care of me in that way. This is one that I think that we don't talk about, how it can impact our identity. A lot of times we see ourselves through our friends. We get parts of our identity through our friends, through our community, and community is so important. And so when you lose a friend, you sometimes feel like you're losing a part of yourself, and it's not a fun feeling. But I do always like to go back to this Drake line, which I know it's corny, which it's like, it's fine. I can say a Drake line, guys. He came out with a new album, Kendrick, whatever. I can say it, okay? Here's the lyric. If I ever loved you, I'll always love you. That's just how I was raised. And my mom, she did not raise me to have a hate in my heart. So if I've ever loved you as a friend, as a partner, as a business partner, as a call, anything, if I've ever loved you, I will always love you. I might not talk to you or I might not associate with you, but if I ever loved you, I'll always love you. That's just how my mama raised me. So I do think that it's 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 hard to lose a friend because you do feel like a part of you is being lost too. Like you're losing a huge part of your life. Like you guys probably talked a lot or hung out a lot, and that was part of your identity, and you are losing a part of your identity, and it sucks. Personally, so I shared this story about the guy that went cuckoo for cuckoo puffs last year, and then sidebar. Let me just tell you, when the fire situation happened, he reached out to me. Like he had been ignoring me since like Halloween and like messaging all my friends, messaging everyone in my hometown, talking crazy things. And then when the fires happened, he reached out to me and then we tried to talk it out and it just didn't work. And that's okay. But another, like last year, I just felt like, I feel like the last year of my 20s, I shedded a lot of things that did not serve me because I honestly, I had the intention of I don't want these certain things to carry into my next decade. And so I was like kind of like God, like rid me of what I don't need. And I lost a lot of things last year. And it was so much pain and grief of losing people because losing friends is a form of grief. Because I was stuck in such a toxic relationship cycle, it in turn I ended up losing a really good friend because I kept going back. It kept affecting my mental health. I would come to my friends and talk about it. And at the time, I didn't understand like how much it was affecting my friends until I, healed myself because after it all happened, I did lose myself there for a bit. And then when I started healing again, I started talking to my friends and like kind of being myself again. And the friends that I didn't lose through that journey, kind of started to open up to me about how much that my relationship was like affecting their friendship. They're like, of course, we love you. We're never going to leave you. But it was affecting a bit of our relationship. And, I knew I was going to love you through it. But not every person in your life, not every friend is forever. Some friends are seasonal. And I have to live with that. I probably lost this friendship because I couldn't let go of that toxic relationship. Losing the relationship hurt, but like losing the friendship hurt more because I had to take a look in the mirror and be like, part of this is my fault. Like, I have been probably a crappy friend. Like, every time we hang out, I'm talking about this and they see me and see what I'm worth and they see what I'm tolerating. So, I do think that there are some times when it's our fault when we lose a friend and you probably won't be able to get that friend back, and that's okay. But as long as you learn a lesson, then it wasn't done in vain. And like I said earlier, you can always love that friend, but just know that sometimes you're the reason that you lose friends too. And that's okay as long as you learn and grow from it and become a better version of yourself and don't repeat the same mistakes. How to move on though. First, you have to allow yourself to grieve. I kind of teased on it earlier, but it is a form of grief to lose a friend. And it's not the same as like someone dying or a different form, but it is a form of grief. Like I said, that other friend, she was a part of my daily routine. We had group chats. It affected friend groups there for a little bit. Like I felt weird hanging out with other friends. It affected a big part of my life, and I was grieving that lost friendship for a while. Honestly, if I think about it for long enough, I'll get sad again because like I said, part of that loss was my fault, and I take ownership of my fault, but we still lost it. So I had to allow myself to grieve, and grief comes in waves. Like I'm sure, you'll get back on with your life, but there will be things that remind you of her or this or that, and that's okay. And it is part of the process is to grieve. Number 2, avoid the overanalyzing. And sometimes I know that's really hard because you want to get in your head like, what did I do wrong? Like if there's a situation where it wasn't 100%, you don't know what you did. You just feel the slow fade. You feel the bread crumbing. You have to realize that sometimes you do things and there you have a fault in it, but then sometimes it's not you and it's not personal and the other person is going through things. And so maybe it was a seasonal friendship. Maybe this is a seasonal breakup. You never freaking know. Time and life have a way of bringing people back together that are meant to be together. Trust me. There's a girl that I was friends in high school with and in college with. Then we had a breakup of a friendship. Now she was a bit mean girl vibes. Then she got married. She has daughters now. We recently reconnected and are texting again and encouraging each other because she's doing social media now too. So things happen. Sometimes you have to let life happen, but stop over analyzing the situation. Realize that sometimes people do grow apart and it could be forever or it could be just a season, but sometimes it's not your fault, and don't overanalyze what you did wrong, what you could have done better, how, like, talk to your other friends about it. Just stop overanalyzing and try to just take that time and focus on you and how you can be a better friend too moving forward. Sometimes you have to end friendships too. So I think it's really important to take inventory of your friendships, to check your circle constantly, because sometimes there's friendships that aren't serving you and you're keeping them around. You're keeping them around. And sometimes friendships are seasonal, and that's okay. There are people that are permanent and there are people that are seasonal. But the longer you hang on to people that are seasonal because you want them to be permanent, the longer you're delaying getting into your next season. And finally, after you've taken time to grieve the relationship, to heal, to work on yourself, to invest in your other friendships, lean into the existing friendships that you already have and realize that losing one person and one friendship that could or could not have been serving you opens up so much room in your life for connection, for real, genuine, authentic connection, and letting go of what's not serving you, and friendships and relationships and even jobs that are not serving you. Like, letting those things go, make room for the right thing to come in. Friendships change. Losing friends sucks. It never gets better. Sometimes people are seasonal, and that's okay, because it opens up room for a new season to come, for new people. And just because you've lost a friendship doesn't make any of the time you guys spent together lost. And it's still just as valuable, just as meaningful. And choose to remember the good. I love you, besties. I mean it. Bye.